My mom hid my cheating wife's secret for 18 years. I made DNA and got brutal revenge on them. I found out on my son's 18th birthday. He wasn't mine, and the person who helped hide that truth, my own mother, she smiled at me across the dinner table that night, the same smile she wore the day I married my wife. What I didn't know was, both of them had been lying to me since the wedding. For nearly 2 decades, I raised another man's child, while they toasted my loyalty. Before we continue, don't forget to share this story, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. You won't believe what happens next. She looked me in the eyes that morning and asked, "Are you okay? You've been distant lately." I forced a smile and replied, "Just work pressure." But inside, I was shaking. It started 2 weeks before when I found a half-burnt envelope in Mom's old drawer while she was hospitalized. It wasn't just any envelope, it had a DNA test receipt, dated 18 years ago, and the results didn't match mine. The name written in faded ink. My son, the sender. My wife. At first I thought it was some insurance paperwork, but then I flipped the paper over and saw the result. Probability of paternity, 0%. I stood there, frozen heartbeat crawling up my throat. I called my mom the same night. "Ever heard of a DNA test being done?" Secretly, she paused, then said, "People do strange things when they're scared. Let it go, honey, let it go." Was she serious? That's when it hit me. They knew. All those years I blamed myself for our lack of connection. The cold glances, the awkward silences. I thought it was just father-son distance. No, they both knew. I wasn't his father, and they let me raise him anyway, while my wife kissed me goodnight with a smile that smelled like someone else's betrayal. But I didn't explode, I didn't scream. I did what no one expected me to do. I hugged my son the next morning, looked him in the eyes, told him I was proud of the man he was becoming. Then I told my wife I booked us a weekend getaway, just us two. She lit up like nothing was wrong. What she didn't know was, I'd already hired someone to track the man from that old hospital record. To dig up every phone record, every hotel check-in, every late night at work excuse. And what I found wasn't just betrayal, it was something far, far worse. His name was Craig Dawson, age 49, real estate developer, divorced, twice, lived just 20 minutes from us the entire time, and somehow, his name had never come up once in 18 years. But I found a photo from a high school reunion my wife attended alone 3 months before we got married. There she was, leaning into him, his arm wrapped around her waist. The caption on Facebook, "Old flames never die." I stared at that emoji for almost an hour, my hands trembling with rage, and just like that, the puzzle began to solve itself. She didn't just cheat. She replaced me before our life even started, and my mother, she helped her cover it all up to keep the family together. But what they didn't realize was I had spent 18 years learning how to play the long game. I wasn't always like this. In college, I was the broke kid, worked double shifts while Craig bought his way into everything: booze, cars, women. He even slept with my freshman year girlfriend. Guess what? That girlfriend was my wife now. They thought I was too soft, too trusting, too safe. And maybe I was. Until now. I didn't confront him, I didn't call her out. I invited him to my son's 18th birthday. Yes, I sent him a formal invitation under the fake identity of a corporate fundraiser donor. My wife helped write the invite, smiling the whole time, and when Craig walked in that night wearing an expensive suit and the same smug face from the reunion photo, my mother went pale, my wife froze, and my son smiled, unknowingly. Craig didn't recognize me at first. He'd gained weight. I'd lost mine. Time had flipped the scale. "Nice to meet you," he said, shaking my hand. "Oh, we've met," I replied with a smile. His face twisted slightly, but that wasn't the twist, because, as he sipped the wine I poured for him, I stepped onto the small stage we'd set up for speeches, tapped the mic, cleared my throat, and said, "Before we celebrate my son's adulthood, I want to thank 2 people for shaping the last 18 years of my life, my wife, and my mother." The room went silent. Every eye on me. My wife's hand gripped her wine glass like it might break. My mother mouthed something. I think it was, "Please don't." But I was just getting started. Because without them, I would have never learned how betrayal feels. The room froze. You could hear the wine pouring, but not a single breath. My son looked confused. Craig stood near the cake, smiling stupidly, unaware he was standing in a trap, and my wife, her lipstick had faded, but the panic in her eyes had never been sharper. I continued, voice steady, but sharp, enough to cut through bone. 18 years ago, I married the woman I loved. I trusted her completely. I shared my dreams, my savings, my life. I believed she was loyal. What I didn't know was, my own mother helped her bury a lie so deep, almost died with it. Murmurs. Some guests looked around uncomfortably. Others started filming, and that's when I dropped the envelope. DNA doesn't lie, and neither does a mother's silence. If you listen close enough, my wife stepped forward, her voice shaking. "Can we talk privately?" "No," I said coldly. "We're not hiding anymore. Not tonight." I turned toward Craig, who was now staring at me like he'd finally placed my face. Craig Dawson, I believe you know my wife. He cleared his throat. I think there's been some confusion. No confusion, I interrupted. You were the man who slept with her while I was working 2 jobs to afford our wedding. You were the man whose child I unknowingly raised for 18 years. And tonight, I invited you to finally meet your son. Gasps. Some woman dropped her wine glass. My son looked from me to Craig, then back to me. Dad, what is this? I walked toward him slowly, placed a hand on his shoulder. You will always be my son. But you deserve to know the truth. You've been lied to by everyone who claimed to love you, including your mom and your grandma. My mother burst into tears. I was trying to protect you. No, I said without flinching. You were protecting your image. You were ashamed I wasn't enough for her. So you helped her hide it. You chose her over your own blood. Then I turned to my wife. You lied for 18 years and let me play the fool. But you forgot one thing. Fools remember, and they learn how to destroy. That's when I nodded. And the doors opened. 2 men entered, one holding a stack of legal folders, the other a local journalist. With a camera crew. My wife's mouth fell open. Craig's eyes widened. What is this? She stammered. Your past. Your affair. Your cover. Up. All of it. Is about to become a headline. And before she could scream, I spoke into the mic once more. I loved you more than I loved myself. Now, I love my freedom more than I'll ever love your face. I hope you enjoy public attention, I said, turning slightly to the journalist. Behind me because she's been running this lie for 18 years, and it's time the world sees what love built and betrayal destroyed. My wife lunged toward me, trying to snatch the mic. Stop, you can't do this. This is our family. No, I replied, stepping back. This was my family. What you had was a performance. I just canceled the show. The journalist didn't need any more prompts. The cameraman zoomed in on her trembling hands, Craig's ashen face, and my son standing between the ruins of truth and trust. Then came the documents. I handed them one by one to Craig with a bitter grin. Here's the proof you paid my wife through a fake account. For 14 years, here's the hotel ledger. Here's the child support agreement. That's about to hit you harder than your last divorce. He stuttered. You hacked my eye. Didn't hack anything. I cut him off. She used your name as her emergency contact once. One email, one careless click. That's all it took. And then came the final blow. I turned to my wife. This house is mine. Bought it before we married. Your name's not on it. The car gone by morning bank accounts. Already frozen. You left me with a line I'm leaving you with. Nothing but the truth. Her eyes flared. You're ruining your son's life. That's when I turned to him. Slowly, carefully. He hadn't spoken a word. I'm not going to tell you who to hate, I said, but you deserve to choose. With your eyes open now. He looked at her, then at me. Then his voice, barely a whisper. Is it true? She broke. Her knees buckled. I didn't mean to. It was one mistake. He was there, and you were always working. I thought it wouldn't matter. He took a step back. And then, with tears in his eyes, he walked toward me. Slow, steady, and said, You're still my dad. No matter what. Because a real dad shows up, and you never missed a single game. I didn't cry. Not until he hugged me. Right there in front of everyone. That's when my mother fell to her knees. Please. I was just trying to keep you from breaking. I was wrong, son. I was so wrong. I looked at her for a long time and said nothing. Some lessons don't need words. They just need silence. And as my wife was escorted out, shamed, shaking, speechless eyes stood by my son, signed by my late father, something he left me before he died, a letter that explained why my mom did what she didn't, the truth that even I wasn't ready for. After the guests left, the lights dimmed and the cameras stopped rolling. I sat alone in my father's old study. Same leather chair, same wooden desk. Same hidden drawer beneath the bottom shelf. That's where I found it, a letter dated 2 weeks before his death. I never opened it before. I thought it was just old paperwork, but now I needed answers no DNA test could give. The paper crackled as I unfolded it. His handwriting, shaky but strong, still smelled like the cigars he used to smoke in secret. Son, if you're reading this, it means the truth has finally cracked through the surface, and I owe you an apology I never had the courage to give. Your mother, she didn't act alone. Years ago, when you were about to get married, she came to me. Said she suspected something your girlfriend, now wife, had been acting strange. She wanted to call off the wedding. But I told her to stay silent. I told her a lie was better than a broken wedding, that a man could grow to love a child even if the blood wasn't his. I told her to protect the image of a perfect family. Because I was tired of watching ours fall apart. I failed you. We both did. But I need you to understand, you weren't betrayed by just love. You were betrayed by our fear of shame. My hands trembled. So it wasn't just my mother, it was both of them. They didn't think I could handle the truth, so they chose silence and gave me a lie to live with. I stared at the wall for a long time, and then I burned the letter, not out of hate but to finally free myself from all their ghosts. 3 days later, the divorce was finalized. The headlines were everywhere. Real estate tycoon, exposed in 18-year affair scandal. Wife's secret destroyed by DNA test. Man raises affair child, then publicly shames cheaters with savage mic drop. My ex-wife moved to a small rental in another town. My mother stopped calling, and Craig Heath tried to sue me for defamation. But the proof was bulletproof, and the lawsuit dismissed in 72 hours. As for my son, he stayed. We took a trip, just the two of us, no phones, no press, just silence and healing. On the last night, as we stared at the ocean, he asked, "Do you think we'll ever forgive them?" I paused. "Maybe," I said, "but forgiveness isn't for them. It's for us." He nodded, then asked something I didn't expect. "Would you do it all over again, even knowing I wasn't yours?" I smiled through the pain. "I'd raise you 1,000 times over. Just not with the same lie." And just when I thought the storm was over, an email landed in my inbox. From a woman's subject line, "You don't know me, but I think we might be related." I stared at it, heart pounding again. Because betrayal doesn't just knock once. Sometimes it runs in the blood. The end, or is it? Want part 2? Let us know in the comments. Like the video. And don't forget to subscribe for more savage revenge stories.